Hey guys, what's up? Back with another video. This time I've got another review for you guys today. It's TNA Slammiversary 2013. So let's get us on the way, shall we? I thought with it being the anniversary show of Slammiversary 2023 coming up on July 15th, I thought there's no better time to get this review, watched and reviewed. A little sneak back and a little trip down memory lane to 2013. Slammiversary 10 years ago, from 2013, from Boston, Massachusetts. Always get that, always can't pronounce Boston, Mass, whatever. Anyway, let's kick off the show. We've kicked off with the Slammiversary card with the X Division Championship on the line. We had the Ultimate X match. We had Kenny King defending the title against Chris Sabin and Suicide, who later would become Manic, aka TJP. Awesome opener. You can't go wrong with an X Division, multi-man match to kick off the show. This was no different. Awesome stuff. Chris Sabin won the match. He had just returned from knee injury, so it kind of made sense for him to win here. And he would have a bright summer ahead of him going forward in 2013. With the World Championship picture and all that stuff. So yeah, Chris Sabin on a roll after the match, so yeah, pretty probably the right winner. Then after the match, we had an endorsement. Hulk Hogan came out and endorsed Chris Sabin and reminded him that Destination X is coming this summer and he could cash in the X Division Championship for option C to face the World Champion. And then he moved on to more important things, and then he got interrupted by Mr. Ensign, the Aces and Eights, Mr. Ensign, Garrett Bischoff, and Wes Briscoe, which fitted nicely into the next match, which was a six-man tag team match involving those three individuals, Mr. Anderson, Garrett Bischoff, and Wes Briscoe, taking on the Team TNA of Samoa Joe, Magnus, and the returning Jeff Hardy. This was just a fun match, man. I enjoyed this match. It reminded me of, it was almost like going back in time. Back to 2013 when I was watching Impact every week, and I was pretending to play along as the heel commentator like Taz. I know that sounds silly, but it is what it is. Sometimes I get really interested in this stuff, and you play along with it. And yeah, I was playing. It slipped right back into that role, man. I was just like, playing along and just having fun. Because that's what wrestling's about at the end of the day. Wrestling's just about, watching your favorite show, watching your favorite thing in the world, and just having fun. It is what it is. I'm not going to get too much into that one, but it was just about having fun. And this just brought back all those fun memories of those Impact days of 2013, watching my boys, Aces and Eights, get destroyed there, so... it was fun. It was a fun match. Team TNA pick up the victory. Watching Samoa Joe beat the shit out of Garrett Bischoff was something to be seen for sure. That was fun. Samoa Joe was having fun. A lot of goodness, a lot of good stuff happened here. Really warmed my heart. Really good stuff. And then after that, we had an attack backstage. Devon attacked Joseph Park and bloodied him up before their match later on in the night. More on that later, especially the bloody part. Next match, we had a gut check tournament final match. The winner of the gut check tournament final would go into the Bound for Glory series. A good opportunity for the young talent. We had Jay Bradley taking on a young Sam Shaw. It was very weird seeing Sam Shaw not as Samuel Shaw, not with the gimmick. He was basically he was wearing the skateboard shorts, and that was it. And that he didn't really have a gimmick. And it's kind of weird seeing Sam Shaw like that because I'm so used to the creepy Dexter Lumis Sam Shaw, the one that's stalking Christy Hemme. That kind of Samuel Shaw, like the one he was a year later. So. This match was alright. It was kind of weird it felt like, throwing two guys who the crowd barely knew, two new guys, throw them out there, they had a match, and the crowd really didn't care, and it kind of made an awkward experience. The match didn't go long, maybe about 6 or so minutes, And it was what it was. It was okay for what it was, but it was kind of awkward at the same time. Maybe they should have saved this for like Explosion or Impact, or maybe instead of it was one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year. That's just my opinion. Anyway, next match we had Devon defending the television championship against Josie Park. This was a hard-fought match, man. Devon wins by count-out after Josie Park doesn't turn up after the attack backstage. He didn't turn up, and Devon won by count-out. And then, of course, Devon opened his big fat mouth, being the heel that he is, an awesome heel. Said that if Abyss was here, he'd whoop his ass too. And, of course, he'd put that belt on the line against Abyss. Of course, Abyss would come out, and that led to a match. This was exactly what it needed to be. It was a very short match. Abyss, Devon got a little bit of offense on Abyss, but it was exactly what it needed to be. Abyss, Devon opened his mouth, the heel opened his mouth and, talked trash, and he got his mouth shut up, so he got his mouth shut by Abyss. So, new television champion in Abyss, and, it was just fun, it was just a fun experience. Anyway, next match. First off, we had Dixie Carter announcing that Kurt Angle is going to be inducted in the TNA Hall of Fame, the second inductee in the TNA Hall of Fame behind Sting. Pretty cool stuff, awesome stuff. Kurt Angle's always a good pick for any Hall of Fame. A lot of respect for Kurt Angle. Anyway, after that one, we had the four-way elimination tag team title match. We had Chavo and Hernandez defending the tag team titles against Austin Aries and Bobby Roode, James Storm and Gunner, and of course Bad Influence, Christopher Daniels and Kazarian in a elimination match. Started out very slow. I wasn't sure about it at first. I was like, for the amount of talent that they had in that ring, it could have been a lot better at the beginning. But it picked up it picked up in the middle, and especially when it got down to the final two teams. Of course, Bad Influence was caught red-handed cheating with the championship belt, so they got disqualified. And then immediately they hit Chavo with the belt and got disqualified. And then immediately the dirty heels of Rude and Aries picked up the victory, picked up the win, eliminated Chavo Hernandez by eliminating Chavo after he got hit with the belt. So it came down to Gunner and James Storm versus Bobby Roode and Austin Aries, which was fun. I actually liked the idea of the fact that it was James Storm and a new partner against Austin Aries and James Storm's old partner Bobby Roode. That was a big thumbs up there. James Storm was very limited. I think he was coming off a groin injury at this point, so he was very limited in what he could do. But I think they put up a solid match for what it was. And big thumbs up to this one. And James Storm and Gunner won the tag titles, or as I call them, Gunstorm. Good match right here. Pretty fun stuff. I wish it would have been it could have been a lot better, but there again, James Storm was injured, and I can't really blame him for that. So they put on the best performance they could with the limitations that James Storm had with the groin injury, which got to be painful. Ain't doing anything to your groin is painful, you know what I mean? That sounded awkward. Moving on. Then we had Taryn Terrell versus Gail Kim in a last knockout standing match. The last knockout standing match according to commentary. I don't know if that's true. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Anyway, this one was awesome. Taryn Terrell's crazy, and she proved it. Her and Gail Kim, this is probably Taryn Terrell's best match that she's ever had. Nothing against Taryn Terrell. This was just really awesome. She was in there with a great wrestler and a great wrestling Gail Kim, and a great dance partner, as they would call her. And that's kind of interesting, dancing with Gail Kim. That's a very interesting. I got a fist to the face. That's my kind of dance. Me getting a fist to the face. That's interesting. Anyway, less say about me the better. Anyway, this match was fantastic. Great match. Gail Kim and Taryn Terrell had an awesome match. The finish was absolutely fucking crazy, where Taryn Terrell looked like she was about to get power drived on the steel on the rampway, and she turned it into an RKO, like a cutter, off the stage. And I'm like, holy crap, they didn't land on concrete, did they? And then they showed you a replay after the match, and they totally just landed on the thin mats on the outside of the ring. Nothing really to protect them. Crazy bump. Awesome finish. Big thumbs up to this one. And I love Taz on commentary making fun of ODB, who's the referee, by saying, like, can she even count because she's too drunk to count. Fun stuff by Taz. I love Aces and Eights commentating Taz. Anyway, moving on to the next match. We have AJ Styles taking on Hall of Famer Kurt Angle. This was just awesome. And another awesome match here. AJ Styles and Kurt Angle. They had a bit of a different match than you'd usually see between the two. A little bit more slower, a bit more aggressive than you usually would have, but still awesome matchup. They really brought it. Kurt Angle had his knee taped up after an attack from AJ on Impact with the bullpen hammer. When AJ Styles teased joining Aces and Eights, but then turned on Aces and Eights. They're a coward bastard. Love you, AJ. Yeah, AJ, really good performance here, and surprisingly, Kurt Angle won, because this was AJ's first match as the dark, the lone wolf kind of AJ Styles, not Baron Corbin, the loner, the one where he started growing out his hair and he started becoming more darker and he changed his music. Different style of AJ. Different character to AJ Styles, and I'm very surprised that he lost here to Kurt Angle, but still, I understand it because Kurt was inducted in the Hall of Fame, but there again, Sting was inducted in the Hall of Fame, or announced for the Hall of Fame the year previous, and he still lost, so it is what it is. It was what it was. I think AJ should have won, but that's just my opinion. But I think the match itself, it didn't really take away too much of the match. I think the match was still fantastic. And we move on to the main event, which is this one right here. We have Big Bad Bully Ray defending the Impact World Championship against the Icon, Mr. Crazy, the insane Icon himself, Mr. Jumping Off Ladders at 64 years old, Sting, 10 years later. We have the Icon Sting against Bully Ray in a no-holds-barred match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. This was fun, a fun, hardcore main event. Weapons-filled main event, with a little bit of shenanigans with Aces and Eights getting involved. Me personally, it kind of made Sting come off as a bit of an idiot, because it was his stipulation that he wanted a no-holds-barred match. And I watched the Before the Bell special, before watching the pay-per-view, and they were sitting there going like, oh, Jeff Hardy got put on the shelf because he asked for a Full Metal Mayhem match, knowing full well Aces and Eights could get involved because it's anything goes. And it's like, and then Sting makes it a no-holds-barred match for Slammiversary, and it's like, well, Sting just screwed himself. Also, I didn't like the fact that Sting had no backup. Like, he didn't, no one came out to help Sting, and he was all alone, and he had to fight off the Aces and Eights. He did a pretty good job, but then he fell victim to the bullpen hammer, and Bully pinned him. 1, 2, 3. That's another thing as well. I wish that he would have pinned him with the power driver on the wood instead, on the exposed area of the ring, if you know what I'm on about. Bully exposed the corner of the ring like this. He took the mat off and exposed the wooden part of the ring, and power drive Sting on that. I would have liked that to be the finish rather than Aces and Eights get involved and then, with bullpen hammer, bunk off the head, 1, 2, 3. Like they always did back then, but it was what it was. It was a small nitpick, but the match itself, it didn't take away from the match too much. It was still a fun show, and so my overall score, of course, Bully Ray retained, which was very, very happy for 2013 me. Anyway, my score for the Slammiversary 2013 is, of course, a 9 out of 10. Very enjoyable show. The only thing I didn't really care too much about was the Sam Shaw versus Jay Bradley match. But the rest of the show was very enjoyable, which is very surprising because going into this event, I didn't remember too much about it apart from the main event. I've watched the main event several times, so I knew what happened there, and I was prepared for it. But the rest of the show I wasn't really familiar with. I think maybe the last knockout standing match as well. I was very familiar with that one, but Yeah, it was a very surprisingly good show. Because I didn't remember any. I couldn't remember any. I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember most of the show, so I couldn't remember if it was any good or not. So I'm glad I watched it. Good show, guys. Tell me what you think in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next one. And I'm out. Have a nice day.